Okay, I want you to picture this. Moms, we've all had one of those days, right? Where you've just kind of had it all that day. I was having one of those days. I can't even remember what time of year it was. Where you start out with your hair like all up in a ponytail, and you've got your yoga pants on, and you got your little one at home with you. And by midday or so, the ponytail's like over here. I've spilled everything on the floor. Everything that could possibly happen that day happens. And my little one on top of that was potty training. So I was running around the house with a mop all day. And the doorbell rings. And my dog goes crazy. And I go to the door, and I've got the mop over one arm, and I'm like, let me put the dog away so he doesn't attack you. My little one only has a shirt and panties on. And I finally get back to the door, and I look out, and I see this bright and shiny man. And he said, I promise I'm not going to hurt you. I open the door, and he looks at me. He doesn't look at me like I'm crazy. He looks at me, looks me in the eye, he shakes my hand, and he says, hi, I'm Chuck Perdue. And I would like you to consider me for Bay County tax collector. He has no idea who I am, no idea what I was going to say today. But my daddy always told me that you can judge a man by his handshake. And it made an impression on me that day. I told my parents, I told everyone I knew, I said, we need to vote for that man. He went out, he didn't send people to ask for his vote. He came to my house and did that. So I'm so grateful for the man that we have elected for Bay County tax collector. And I think that goes a long way to speak for his character. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Chuck Perdue.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little worried about where that was going to go for a minute. But I did personally go out and knock on 10,000 doors across the campaign trail. This was not part of what I was going to tell you today, but I can tell you that on that campaign trail, what happened was nothing short of miraculous. God gave me a vision, and He opened the doors for me, and I was obedient to His calling despite how uncomfortable it might have been. And He made provision so that I could knock on all those doors and work as hard as I've ever worked. And it seemed like the harder I worked and the more obedient to God I was, the more He blessed me, right? That's the God that we serve. And it was just an incredible experience. So that brought back a lot of memories. So thank you, April. I appreciate that. Now, we'll get on to something, Pastor, that's really always catches me off guard. When people clap for a tax collector, it makes me think, oh my gosh, we've been left behind. Right? But I know that we haven't. Thank the Lord. I do thank you for allowing me to come talk with you a little bit today about my journey to become tax collector, what we've done in the office, and where we're going. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the tax collector does, right? It's not the DMV, contrary to popular belief. The DMV has a very negative connotation, so I'm trying to move away from that. I'm a corporate guy. Imaging, branding means a lot to me, so we're trying to move away from that. But what the tax collector does in Florida, and specifically in Bay County, we deliver state services on a local level, okay? I'm a subcontractor for the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, the Department of Revenue, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, the Fish and Wildlife Commission, the Department of Health, and 18 regional taxing authorities. We collect about $240 million annually, so we have a very, very busy office. In fact, in 2017, we did 638,000 individual transactions in our offices here in Bay County. That consisted of primarily 272,000 vehicle and vessel renewals, 29,000 titles, 61,000 driver's license, 10,000 hunting and fishing license, 2,000 concealed weapons permits. We do about 400 online transactions every day. We process about 1,000 pieces of mail every day, and we have about 1,400 people come through our offices every single day. At the height of tax season, the most mail that we got in a single day, I went to the mailbox, we had 16,000 pieces of mail that day. It was quite the sight to see, and it was even funnier to see my staff when I delivered it to the mailroom. So it was good. So that's a little bit about our office. So, I've had a journey of a lot of a technological change, and you can see with that kind of volume, it's very important that you operate as efficiently and effectively as you can. But what I'd like to do is take you on a little bit of a journey, because I want you to know exactly what I took over when I took office January 3rd of last year. And so I want you to envision where you were in, say, 1970, 1975, whether that was work or school, or maybe you weren't born, I don't know. But think about your environment and the resources you had to do your job, okay? That's what I walked into when I took office in January of last year. We had 41 typewriters that were still being used, okay? There had a half a dozen people doing handwritten letters all day long, using carbon copy paper, if you remember that, okay? No one had any email. They didn't have Microsoft Word or Excel, no Office products. And we had 4 lovely microfiche machines that we still used. That's right. There was no organizational structure. There was the tax collector, Miss Brannon, who I love dearly, but then there was just everybody else. So there was no opportunities for growth. There were no policies and procedures that defined operations. There was no employee handbook to be a resource for employees. So that's kind of where we went. So we had a lot of work to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch on a few of the highlights from 2017, okay? And then I'm going to come back and come full circle and tell you what it really takes to change that culture that was embedded within the office. Because you don't just do everything we've done in 1 year without changing the way people think and the way they act. You can't just say, okay, start doing this, and they just start doing this, right? It's a journey. So we started by developing the Policies and Procedures Manual, developed an employee handbook. We secured HR, accounting, time and attendance software. We strengthened internal controls and security over our funds. We launched new website and social media accounts to provide more online services and stay connected to that generation that follows those things. All right. We provided email and Microsoft Office software to all team members. We had to establish a training coordinator because we're changing a lot of things. We needed a lot of training. And it's important that we have 4 offices. It's important that no matter which office you visit of mine, I want you to be told the exact same thing and receive the exact same level of service. So our training coordinator got busy training people cross departments, but also we developed a coalition of 9 Panhandle counties. We meet quarterly to talk about industry best practices and how to provide a better customer experience. We also work on training with the agencies out of Tallahassee that we serve so that we can stay on top of the latest changes. In 2017 alone, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles pushed 865 changes down to my office. And that's the way we operate daily, 865 of those. So it's a rapidly changing environment, and you have to have a systematic approach to stay on top of that. But we also we have an organizational structure. So we have directors and managers and a few different levels of employees. Managers needed managerial training, right? They needed to know how to recognize and reward employees who are doing a great job. They need to know how to put an employee on a personal improvement plan should they not be meeting expectations. So we had to do a lot of managerial training. We do customer service training 2 days a year. We go off-site. We do work all day on Customer Service 101. We have a delayed opening on Wednesdays. We don't open until 8:30, and 3 Wednesdays a month, the managers cover with their team a preset agenda that talks about technical matters as well as customer service matters. And then 1 Wednesday a month, I get everyone on a conference call, and I just talk to them about customer service. And then we have technology training. And the one I love the most is email. When you give 65 people email, what you don't anticipate is that 22 of them say, Mr. Perdue, we've never had email before. How do you open it? How do you close it? How do you forward it? How do you save it, right? What do you mean it's rude to type in all caps? I can see it better that way. I mean, it's just a thing. It's just a thing, right? So you just got to stop, and you got to love, and you got to minister those people and kind of get them through that. Okay, the journey continues. We opened a new customer call center. They're currently getting about 10,000 calls a month. Okay, they're very busy. They also run our high-speed mail machines that process about 180 transactions a minute versus an individual taking 4 minutes for 1 transaction. We have a new customer queuing software and kiosk that allow for online check-in, so you can get in line before you come to the office, and they'll tell you when to make your way to the office, and you can push yourself back, but it's your time. You control it. But it also allows me to direct customers to employees that can help them the quickest. So what that's done is it's reduced our average wait time to about 6 to 8 minutes. I pulled one day from last week. We served 483 customers in the main office. The average wait time was 4 minutes on that particular day. Now, don't hold me to that. This week is our second busiest week of the year. It is absolute chaos down there, but we're pushing through it, and we're learning so that we can do it a little better next year. We've acquired a new tax management software that's going to allow us to do things that like remote tax collection. So, for the good folks over in Mexico Beach, we might show up on a Saturday and say, hey, come get a free appetizer and pay your property taxes, or set up at schooners or do some things like that. But it also provides a more accurate accounting and as far as our finances and our reporting to the state. So it's going to do a lot of things to help us. And then I've challenged and empowered my employees to go out and find better ways to serve certain subsets of our customers, right? And they came back to me and they said, we'd like to do something special for new drivers. We'd like to do something special for veterans. So we implemented programs. If you're a veteran in my office, and I believe that I spoke to a gentleman earlier who came in, he experienced this. If you're a veteran, you come in, we give you a flag lapel pin, and we give you a card from the Bay County Tax Collector's Office thanking you for your service and sacrifice to our community. We've also partnered with the Bagel Maker downtown, and we'll give you a card for a free cup of coffee. The new driver recognition program, that's a lot of fun, right? Because when there's a new driver in the house, there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of anxiety. The parents come in with the child, and it's like, oh my gosh, I want this for my baby, but I'm scared to death for him to be on the roads. We like to come along and celebrate with them. So what we do is we announce new driver in the house, and bells and whistles and horns go off. And, the crowd, the customers, they'll join in and clap. It's a lot of fun. And there's always that one guy in the back that says, stay off the roads. And it's a lot of fun. And we come along, and what we're doing is we're coming along with where they are in life, and we're providing the best customer service experience that you can get at the tax collector's office. And we're doing that with intention. Okay, moving right along. We're opening a new beach office. Grand opening is today. I'm excited to go see how their first day was later on this afternoon. But the old building out by 79 is being repurposed through the city for other uses. And so we've moved to the old Suncrust building across from Gulf Coast Burgers on Middle Beach Road. And so that's really going to serve the customers there because it's a little bit larger. Our Lynn Haven office is going to be moving one block north of the current location at the old Suncrust building on Florida Avenue. It will probably open in June, and it's a much larger office. And what it's going to do is it's going to serve a growing Lynn Haven and surrounding communities. It's just that's where the growth is happening in Bay County, and so it's going to serve them better. But we're also going to offer more services when we open that office. Some of the services are birth certificates. We're going to offer the TSA pre-check card, and we're also going to do online tag renewals. Now, you can renew your tag online now, but in June, you can go on our website, and you can renew it on our website without going to the state website, and you can designate one of our 4 offices to pick it up. So if you order it by 2, it's ready for same-day pickup. If not, you can pick it up the next business day. Again, just another way to provide better service to the community. So let's get to the meat of the matter. I told you that I took over an antiquated office, right? So when you have people who have worked in an office for all these decades in that environment where they're not properly resourced to do their job, and the customers are frustrated and angry because it's taking a long time or because the process is hit or miss, it creates a culture of negativity, and there's gossip, and people become depressed, and they have anxiety, and they get to a place where they don't feel like they have any self-worth. There's no growth opportunities. They don't think that they can do anything better in life, and that manifests itself in serious health implications, okay? Illnesses, anxiety, depression. It affects their relationships, their families, their marriages. And so how do you change that? I was obedient to the Lord because I thought He was leading me on a journey to go to an office to change systems and processes. I didn't realize until after I was there that He has put me in a position to minister to people and to love on people so that He can work in their lives. And it was very challenging because that's not something that not on day one, not standing here in front of you today, that I feel adequate to do is to minister to people. That's But I'm reminded that's who God uses, is the people that don't feel like they're adequate for the job, right? And so I started doing a lot of studying. Who are the greatest leaders that, ran the best companies, that turned companies around, that led nations? And what I come to realize was Jesus Christ was the greatest leader we've ever had, right? Jesus came to serve, not to be served. His speech was powerful, positive, loving, and encouraging. He had a plan based on purpose. He empowered others and was intentional about building relationships. So that's what I had to set out to do. I knew the only way I was going to get people on board with what I wanted to do is I have to be intentional about building relationships. So January and February of last year, 65 employees, I met with them one-on-one, whether it took 30 minutes or it took 3 hours. And I got to know their heart, and I encouraged them. We laughed, we cried, we bonded, we prayed, we cried, we bonded and prayed some more. And that was the beginning of what was an incredible journey. And then after I had all those one-on-one meetings, it allowed me the opportunity to introduce some biblical principles into the way that the Bay County Tax Collector's Office is going to operate going forward. I put some of my business cards on the tables, and what I want to tell you now is basically on the card, our mission, vision, values. Okay, on the front, our mission is exceptional customer service delivered by a talented, passionate, caring team. On the back at the bottom, you'll see our vision, a team united in purpose to care for one another, our customers, and our community. And then it's above that is what we believe. That's our core value. We have a cultural statement that everyone that works for me, they've got to read it, they got to demonstrate it, they got to sign it as a condition of employment. I pulled it out of our employee handbook before coming here. I'm not going to read it to you word for word, but I do want to hit each one of them briefly. Because like I said, I want you to see the underlying biblical principles. So number one, build community. Community is a place where you know and are known, where you serve and are served, and where you are loved and where you have the opportunity to love. When you know more about the people with whom you work, you have an advantage to be able to serve them uniquely and to demonstrate care. Number two, hire, retain, and celebrate talent. We believe in hiring talented individuals who hold the same values as our team. We believe you retain talent by providing them with the resources to do their job well, by listening to their needs, and by creating an environment and culture where they are appreciated and given opportunities to grow. Number three, extend respect and grace to all. Extending respect and grace to someone speaks to our character, not theirs. We extend respect and grace because we expect respect and grace to be extended to us. Respect doesn't just mean how we treat an individual, but also how we speak about an individual. No one is perfect. We all have flaws, but we recognize we must be held accountable for our actions towards and our words about others. Embrace challenge and seek growth. Number four, we believe embracing challenge, and we are opening ourselves up to an opportunity to learn to something new. Seeking opportunities to grow ourselves is critical to our ability to adapt to change and find solutions to challenges. Embracing challenge and seeking growth keeps us from accepting the status quo in our work processes and in our daily lives. All right, number five, deliver service with excellence. We believe in exceeding expectations for customers. Exceeding expectations means utilizing innovation to offer services as efficiently as possible. It means going the extra mile and being creative in our service delivery. It means recognizing that each customer we encounter has their own individual story. Each individual story shaped their interactions with others, and we don't know what they endured before arriving at our office. But we know we have the power to make a positive impact on that individual we serve. We want every one of our customers to leave our office knowing that he or she matters, okay? At any four of my offices, at any time of day, you can go into the lobby, and there's a guy out there wearing a $5,000 suit, sitting next to a homeless veteran, sitting next to a widow or widower who is mourning and grieving and needs to change a title, sitting next to a family who is about to celebrate a new driver in their house. We got to come along beside these folks, meet them where they are to provide them the best customer experience we can, and so that we can love on them and minister to them through whatever they're going through, okay? And that's whether it's happy or if it's sorrowful. We got to meet them where they are. Number six, hold oneself and each other accountable. What we say and do is important. We pledge to hold one another responsible in love for words spoken and actions taken. We hold each other accountable because we care for one another and want to help each other become our very best. Building a team founded on trust and integrity starts with us holding ourselves and one another accountable. And then lastly, on our values, number 7, seek opportunities to serve. Serving others is a privilege. We are uniquely positioned to recognize people around us who are in need. Sometimes it's for a coworker, a neighbor, a customer, or a community organization. We believe we have an opportunity and an obligation to help those in need. We believe our purpose is much greater than just collecting payments and issuing driver's license. We believe that we have opportunities to serve each other in a capacity that doesn't really require them to be brought to us, but we actively keep our eyes and ears open to the needs around us so that we can make a positive impact on someone's life without expecting anything in return. And that's our cultural pledge that all employees are expected to read, sign, and live by. Now, it's a lot. It's a lot. We don't always get it right, but we strive daily to get it right. And that has created an opportunity for me to get people to rally around what we believe. And I've seen them start to come out of where they used to be when I took over. And they're starting to deliver service and pay it forward, so to speak, right? Like the old cliche, pay it forward. They're starting to do that. They're engaging customers, and prayer is a thing in our office. I start or finish almost every meeting with prayer. On Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, we have a manager's call. I take prayer requests on the phone, right, for all of our employees or customers, community, whatever it is they put out there, we pray about as a group. I encourage my employees, if you feel led to pray for a customer, do it right there. Don't miss an opportunity to pray for somebody. If you need some privacy, want to go to the conference room, do it. We don't want to miss an opportunity to do the work that the Lord's delivered to us. Now, that's very ungovernmental, right? Because we have a separation of church and state, okay? But here's the dilemma. I was obedient to my God who brought me to this office so that people's lives could be changed through me. I can't check my God at the coat rack when I come through the back door. He has to dictate everything I do in my office, regardless of how uncomfortable it can be at times. And that's okay. My HR director tells me once a week, you're going to get sued. And I just tell her, that'd be great. I'd know that I was doing something right. Because I'm working under God's laws here. I'm trying to respect man's laws, but ultimately I have to answer to the God that I made a commitment to when I took the first step to go on this journey that he led me on. And so that's the story of the Bay County Tax Collector's Office. We've come a long way. We've got a long way to go. I've got a detailed strategic plan. I've got a vision of where I want us to go. But as God comes along and interjects himself at the right times, it changes our plan. And we're just obedient, and we're thankful to him for what he's doing through our people and in our community. And that's all I've got for you. All right. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you today. Thanks.